I bet you can't guess what we're talking about today. Hey guys, what's going on? RetroGamer here, and welcome back to another video. And today what I want to do is talk about something that I've been wanting to talk about for a very long time, probably like 15 years now, and that is the Nintendo Virtual Boy. So I finally got my hands on one a little while ago, and I've been really wanting to discuss this because I think it's one of the coolest things that Nintendo has ever made. Now, if you're a returning subscriber to the channel, or you've watched a couple other things, you know that I think last year was that I talked about the Virtual Boy on Nintendo 3DS. Someone made a homebrew application for the 3DS, and it runs Virtual Boy so good. That is the next best way to play a Virtual Boy if you do not have an actual unit, is playing it on the 3DS. The 3D on the Virtual Boy for 3DS is probably the best 3D I've ever experienced. Like, it is such a missed opportunity from Nintendo. The fact that they didn't add Virtual Boy for 3DS, oh man, it's so nice. Like, you should watch that if you haven't. It is such a great way to play Virtual Boy. But if you have a unit, then that's also good. So the thing about Virtual Boy is, well, one, it didn't do too well. Commercially, it was very bad. It sold like less than like 900,000 units. It was discontinued within a year. This was released in 1995. Then sometime in 1996, it got canned, and it didn't do too well. A lot of the things that are always said about the Virtual Boy is it caused eye strain and headaches, made you sick. When I first played this unit, it did make me sick, but I'm more easy to get sick with that like stuff. I had my sister play it, and it didn't hurt her at all, but it just kind of comes down to the person, right? And if you weren't in the 90s, if you didn't grow up in the 90s, you probably didn't get to play one of these. A lot of people remember being able to play these in stores and stuff, but if you were past that point like me, you probably haven't played one. So it's kind of hard to talk about Virtual Boy and talk about how it looks and feels because you can't see the 3D effect on camera. So that's one of the hardest things. But really, this unit, they say it's Virtual Boy, so you would think it's virtual reality. And someone told me that it wasn't ever meant to be virtual reality. And to that I say, well, if it was never meant to be virtual reality, then they really didn't have a good marketing strategy here, because it really did, to me, look like the marketing was virtual reality. It was 3D and virtual reality. But basically what this is this is a headset, and if you grew up in the early 2000s, you might have watched the movie Shark Boy and Lava Girl and Spy Kids 3D Game Over. You remember those 3D movies with the glasses, and they had like 3D effects, but it wasn't 3D. Like, the movie wasn't 3D, but there were 3D effects from time to time. And that's really what the Virtual Boy is. Like, you see 3D aspects, 3D elements, but most of the games are just in 2D. That's really what it comes down to. And a lot of people know that it is in red and black. The graphics and all of the colored games are in red and black. This was just to be cheaper. They had a full color version that they were making, but it was just too expensive at the time back in 1995, so they went with red and black, and it still looks fine. Like, I don't think like it's a bad thing. Like, the color version probably looks really good, but the red and black still looks fine. But let's talk more about the unit itself here, and we'll show some more games and talk about everything here. So this is the controller itself, the Virtual Boy controller. It feels really nice. It has two D-pads. Not a lot of games use the dual D-pad feature, but some of them do. Has start and select, B and A, and then this is the off and on. If you don't have the controller, you cannot power the Virtual Boy unit. It will not turn on. And so then you have these two buttons in the back. I guess you'd say they're L and R. This is the pack for two different things. So we put it down here. There's two different things. So this is the battery pack. So you could technically, if you put this 6 AA's in here, you can technically bring this around, because this was a part of the Game Boy line. So technically this is portable, but I don't know if you would really want to bring it around in car trips and stuff. If you didn't want to use 6 AA's, they also made this pack here. This is the wall power plug-in pack, and this actually is a Super Nintendo adapter. So you have this adapter that plugs into the back, and it's powered by a Super Nintendo adapter. So you can do that too. That's how I run it. I've never run it on that pack at all. I always run it off of wall power. And then this is the unit itself. Let's just pull the unit itself here. And, you know, this is a headset that we wouldn't really see for like another 20 years with the Oculus Quest and stuff, you know? Like this is really virtual reality too early, honestly. It was a really good idea, really cool concept. I think it was just too early. If you see the bottom here, this is where you plug in the controller. This would have been a port for a link cable. They even talk about it in the instructions about how you could link two of them together, but it never came to the market. This is for headphones. This is the volume. This is the cartridge slot right here where you put the games. We'll talk more about that in a minute. This will adjust the depth and stuff for your eyes and whatnot. And then these are just the two lenses in here, and you put it on and then you're ready to go. And if you saw at the start, this is the stand for it. So the stand is supposed to face this. The logo is supposed to face you. The legs are supposed to face out. You can have it on either way, but the correct way is supposed to be this. The legs are facing that way. And then you just hook it up there, and you can turn this to adjust it to tilt up and down. And a lot of times these stands right here will crack right in the middle. This one thankfully is not broken, but most of these will be broken if you see them online. And then these here are the games. I also have an inbox Japanese version of Galactic Pinball. It's probably my favorite game for the Virtual Boy. I really, really like that game. But these are how the games come. They had 14 games for the North American library and 19 for Japan. There was 22 worldwide. So there were not a lot of games, and it's not very hard to get the full set of Virtual Boy. If you want to ever go for a full set for a game console, it's not a bad choice. There's not many games, but though there are not many games, they're actually pretty fun. There are some games that are really, really fun, actually. And if you look at the games here, they're pretty similar to a Game Boy size. Like, they're not much larger than a Nintendo Game Boy. And these games, as I said, they're a lot of fun. There are some that aren't good, others that are really good. People's probably favorite is Wario Land. Wario Land Virtual Boy, very, very good game. I haven't gotten to play it through all of it yet, but that's a very good game. Red Alarm, some people like it, some people don't. I don't really like it much. It's kind of like a Star Fox game. I don't like it all that much, but Mario Clash, everyone's played this one, a classic. Mario Tennis, I got this one for a really good deal, so I didn't care that you couldn't see the label, but I got that one for a good deal. Of course, Galactic Pinball 2. And what they've also done for Virtual Boy is they've made this thing right here. This is a Flash Boy Plus. So these will run you about $100 online. I think this one's like $110 or something. And they're specially made by order, and they ship from Canada. So from Canada to the US, and being that it was specially made, it's made from the order, like after you order it, then it's only made then. So this took about like a month to get here, which is a little long, but after you get it, you can play any Virtual Boy game you want. Now this only holds one game at a time, so you plug it into your laptop or anything else that you have, and then you download the ROM. It'll erase what's on there, and then it'll put a new game on here. So that's really cool if you need to test out the Virtual Boy, or if you just want to play some of the homebrew games that are out there. There's quite a few homebrew games. There's some English translation games. Actually, on here I have a horror game that I just downloaded on here, and I don't know what to do yet, but it's really, really cool. It was a Japanese game that I believe wasn't released, and then someone did an English translation of it, and so I've been trying to play through that. It looks really, really cool. But there's many other cool homebrew games, and you could download pretty much the whole library of games. As I said, of course, you have to do one by one. But if you want to try out all the Virtual Boy games that there are without having to actually buy the software, that's also a great option too. But I know I've just been talking and rambling about the Virtual Boy. I haven't really said anything about it other than, oh, it's really cool. Like, that's really cool. But like, that's really all I have to say about it. This is a really, really cool design. It didn't do well. It really didn't do well. It failed. Not a lot of people bought it, of course. A lot of people remember it, but not a lot of people own them. This is not a very common thing to experience At least I think so. I've never experienced one. I don't know anyone else who's experienced one, so you know, I think they're somewhat rare to experience. I think this is a really, really cool piece of history. But if you cannot buy a Virtual Boy because they're expensive, the next best thing is definitely the Nintendo 3DS. If you mod your Nintendo 3DS, you can have Virtual Boy on there. It is the best 3D I have ever experienced on 3DS. And it'll probably make you less sick than the Virtual Boy. Like I said, some people it doesn't affect. Other people, like me, it does. But I really like the Virtual Boy. And that's really all I have to say. It's a cool concept. Sad it's failed. Not many games, but you can get the whole library for not too expensive, except for like 1 or 2 games that are really up there in price. But it's cool to collect for, and this is one of the last like hurrahs of my retro gaming journey. This is one of the last things I've been really wanting to own, and I'm just happy with it. And I really hope you guys enjoy me talking about the Virtual Boy, and that's all I have to say. So, thanks for watching, guys. See you next time.